Well, good morning, everyone. We are starting things off with a live look outside because although it does look incredibly beautiful, it is downright cold. That's right. Many of us are actually waking up today to below zero temperatures. Well, thanks so much for joining us here on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis, and thankfully you guys are staying in and watching us and staying warm.
Yeah, we're glad you're watching too. Hey there, I'm Tim Pham. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick hasn't stopped working on this forecast. He's been busy over there in the Weather Center, keeping a close eye on these dropping temperatures. Hey there, Thomas, good morning.
Yeah, hey there. This is by far the coldest weather of the year because the coldest we were before the last 2 days was on January 1st. The very first day of the year, it was 1 degree above. But this morning, Spokane hit -10 for the low. We currently find ourselves still 8 degrees below zero. Some of these temperatures are starting to just turn the corner. We are going to get sunshine this morning. And Pullman, you are as cold as 20 below zero, but you've since recovered back to -5. And meanwhile, in Moscow, it is currently -2. But the wind chill factor, and it's only a 5 and 6 mile per hour wind, which doesn't sound like much. But when our temperatures are this excessively cold, well, it's an exponential equation, and that's why the wind chill still puts us in the -20s, even with a light but impactful wind. Wind chill warnings are in effect for that exact reason. Our wind chill values have been between -25 to -45 this morning across the inland northwest. The warnings continue until the noon hour today, and our temperatures are likely below zero until about 10 or 11 o'clock this morning. No better than single digits through the day today for high temperatures, but we will turn the corner from here. So while we are currently experiencing the worst and coldest of the weather, I'm now focused on a lot of snow and freezing rain across the northwest in the days before Christmas. So look for that in just a couple minutes.
We do have some breaking news at this hour. Avista is reporting over 900 people are without power. Most of these outages are north in Colville. Within the last 15 minutes, Avista did restore power for many customers in the Lewiston area. Now, earlier this morning, over 2,000 people were without power there. And just about 1,200 inland power customers in Spokane and Whitman counties are without power this morning as well.
We also have one school closing to report to you this morning. The Boundary County School District closed. District leaders telling us they're closing because of the extreme cold and the wind chills.
Well, if you have not already, you will likely be turning up your thermostat this morning. KREM 2's Nicole Hernandez actually spoke to Avista about dealing with these extremely cold temperatures. So, Nicole, what tips do they have to share with us all about staying warm inside?
Lots of great tips from Avista. First of all, stay inside. It is way too cold to be out right now, which is why we're in the house. We actually came to my house because it's a great example of some things that I could personally do and you might be able to do to help keep your energy bill as low as possible during this cold snap. So one big thing is during the daytime, if you see any daylight peeking through the door frame here, which you can really see at the bottom of my door frame, it happens a lot. You can kind of feel the air coming through even on my toes here. It actually means that cold air is coming in as well. And if you seal up those gaps, make it more energy efficient, you can actually increase your energy efficiency by up to 10%.
So a great guideline we use is if you can see daylight around your door, if you were to, calculate the size of that hole just by being able to see the daylight, it's about the size of a softball in hole size hole in your wall. So that'd be like having a big hole in your wall that's just open to the outside.
So because of that, Avista says to cover gaps with your door snakes, close drapes and blinds, and cover windows with plastic. You can also start making choices about what temperature to keep your house at and or what rooms to heat or not to heat. Make sure to switch out your furnace filters and don't use space heaters if possible. They're more expensive to run. If you lose power, to keep some of that heat inside, shut your doors to all the rooms in your house. Move everyone into one room because body heat will help keep everyone warm. If you have a natural gas water heater, you'll still have hot water in that situation, so you can fill up bottles with hot water to help keep you warm. And don't start burning things in your house unless you have a functioning fireplace. One other great local resource you can turn to in this time of winter in general, but specifically during this cold snap, is SNAP. SNAPWA.org. It pops you up to this little kind of screen here, you can hit apply for energy assistance, and it takes you to a site that lets you apply to talk with SNAP representatives that will help walk you through what you can do to help keep your energy bill down. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
Some really good advice, Nicole. Thank you. Here's a few more tips you should keep in mind with the cold weather in play. You can use de-icer to melt ice on walkways and driveways. Cover exposed faucets outside. And it's also a good idea to have some extra groceries and supplies on hand in case there are any power outages. And if you do have to go outside, here's another few pro tips. Remember, any exposed skin is at risk of frostbite between 5 and 30 minutes, depending on just how cold it is outside. The most important thing to remember is dressing in layers and cover exposed areas as much as you can.
Also expect extra delays traveling for the holidays. Earlier this week, WashDOT released its holiday travel charts, showing the best and worst times to hit the roads. So if you're driving on I-90 over Snoqualmie Pass today, expect moderate to heavy traffic from noon until 4 p.m. And if you're driving tomorrow, expect moderate to heavy traffic starting at 11 a.m. Meanwhile, if you're driving between Stevens Pass and Skycomish, you should expect heavy congestion tomorrow. Now, the actual busiest day for traffic on these passes is Monday. WashDOT is asking for all drivers to plan ahead. Last night, a candlelight vigil was held for a Providence home health caregiver, Doug Brandt, who was shot and killed earlier this month while visiting a patient's home in West Spokane.
KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk has been following this case very closely since the very beginning and shares the vigil of a person many are remembering.
You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running.
God, music, and people. The three things in life Doug Brandt loved the most, all brought together at this candlelight vigil to remember the man who spent most of his time on earth caring for others.
Doug could connect with any of his patients, not only through his music, but his kind, fun-loving, and compassionate personality.
Friends and colleagues shared stories and a few laughs, remembering the 56-year-old who spent nearly 20 years working for Providence, more recently as a home health caregiver. Doug was never married and had no children, but he loved his church, celebrations, and shopping for blueberries at Trader Joe's. His sister, Trudy Dance, said her brother wanted to be everyone's friend.
I bet he would be a little embarrassed by this gathering because he just didn't feel that he was worthy a lot of times.
Doug was murdered December 1st while checking up on a patient who recently had a stroke. Police say her grandson, Mitchell Chandler, pulled out a gun and shot Doug several times without warning.
I know that his heart would ache so much for the grandparents of Mitchell, who went through watching that happen with their grandson in their house and had to call 911. I can't imagine their heartache.
Chandler's grandparents told police that he suffers from mental health issues. It was apparent during our jailhouse interview when Chandler said he believed Doug was responsible for 9/11.
I really don't think a policy change will change what happened to Doug. I think this was so random, so out of the box.
Questions have been raised about nurse safety, but Doug's sister believes there's a larger problem.
I know that Doug would forgive them, and he and I both talked many times. This is a system problem. We've got to do better with our mentally ill. Keeping them on the streets is not really productive.
She wants people to remember her brother for what he did in life and not how his life ended.
All you have to do is call, and I'll be there.
In Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.